Good evening, Sunanda Deshapriya.
Good evening.
Dear Sunanda Deshapriya, after the UN panel report, the campaign against Sri Lanka's war crimes becomes a global phenomenon. What do you think of the report's impact on the Western governments?
Still, it is difficult to say definitely what will be the impact on Sri Lankan government coming from the UN Secretary General's panel report. But one thing is very clear, that there is a report which has been released, and the panel was commissioned by the Secretary General, and three commissioners have credible people who have done this kind of work before, and one from even the South Africa Truth Commission. And the report coming from these people will be part of the history, Sri Lankan history. Whether there will be an inquiry or not, this will be part of the Sri Lankan modern history, and history related to the war against LTT. In that sense, very difficult to escape this report for the Sri Lankan government without responding to it, without giving a proper investigation for the allegations. It will be very difficult for Sri Lankan government to escape. On the other hand, if you look at within the country, the Rajapaksa government will continue to mobilize single opinion against the report, and that is going on breakneck speed. And they are mobilizing everyone they can mobilize against the report. But if you look at internationally, situation is different. Especially India, a most important country for the Sri Lanka. Not because of the United Nations, or not because of any other things, but it is the biggest country in South Asia, which has the most influence, and a country which can actually dictate terms to Sri Lanka and to India. All other countries listen to India when it comes to Sri Lanka, anything on Sri Lanka. We know peace process. Every time Solheim visited Sri Lanka, he went through Delhi, informing Delhi what was the discussions taking place. So no country in the world will take any step, any action against Sri Lanka or pro against without consulting Indian opinion. And in this situation, it's very important to see that in India, all political parties, all national political parties except Congress has come in favor of the report. BJP, CPI, CPIM, all three parties has come out. There are no other strong, visible national parties. Then Tamil Nadu, almost all Tamil Nadu political parties, including two main parties, have come supporting the report. I'm not saying report is right or wrong, but if you look at what is happening now, internationally, there is a kind of a momentum is being, gathering, or saying that there has to be independent investigation on these allegations. This report is not a charge sheet. This is just a report says there are credible allegations. So what report asks is, other than this short-term recommendations about rule and law of the country, it recommends investigation, internal investigation, and international investigation. And I think the world opinion slowly moving towards that. To accept that there has to be an investigation. Sri Lankan government has to respond to this positively. If not, I think that will not be good for Sri Lanka as a government.
How the UN report going to change the political map of Sri Lanka? Is there any possibility of political change among the people of Sri Lankan South?
Well, what we witness already is what has been happening in last few years, especially during the war, the polarization. Within Sri Lanka, it's only Tamil political parties has come out strongly supporting the panel report and asking government to implement the recommendations. None of the singular-based political parties, it's strange to say that, from singular left to singular right, all have somehow has been trying to find out a way to oppose the panel report, saying either the government says this is a coup against the Sri Lankan government. This is what the Western governments want to do. The left says this is American imperialist plot, and they don't have a right to interfere in Sri Lanka. Like from Vikram Bahu to Vasudeva, Nanakara, Gunasekara, Tisavitarana, all of them are saying the same thing, more or less saying that they don't have a right to interfere in Sri Lankan affairs because they have done more crimes all over the world. But I think the actual situation is none of these parties, maybe therefore found it very difficult to go against the single nationalist current that is in the country. It's very difficult. It's very strong. It's still the Sinhala people. Still they don't need to eat anything. Like if war victory keeps them going. All the war victory celebrations and photos and television dramas, everything. It's still feeding to them, Sinhala people, saying that we defeated the tigers, we live in peace. So other parties find this difficult to go against it. But only two left parties I have seen so far, Communist Party and Samaja Party, has at least asked for implementation, asking government to come up with a political solution, other than the UNP. UNP also said political solution. Tamil parties, what will happen, I think what we'll see is that polarization against taking place. Tamil parties on the one side and all other parties. This time, earlier left parties, some kind of left party, actually supported Tamil political parties. Now it looks like Tamil parties has to really fight their battle alone without any support from the Sinhala left, Sinhala South.
How the human rights campaigners going to respond this report? Is there a media space in Sri Lanka to talk impartially about the report?
If you look at Sri Lanka, there has been no real discussion, informed discussion. That's a real tragedy of this. Whether you support it or not, people need to make informed judgments about this is a very important, like Ranil Wickremesinghe said, this is one of the most important moments of Sri Lankan history because there are war crime charges leveled against Sri Lanka by a panel appointed by the UN. These things has not happened. This has not happened to every country. We can count, how many countries has come under this kind of allegations recently. 5, 6, 7 countries. And Sri Lanka comes under these 5, 6, 7 countries, which has been now accused by UN, a panel appointed by UN for war crimes. But then there's no real discussion. What people hear is all, government propaganda. There's no media space at all. Very small newspapers try to write articles, but even those newspapers, today I think there's especially Sinhala language, Tamil language, I think Tamil newspapers are at least publishing some information on the panel. But if you look at Sinhala majority, they don't get all sides to make a decision about this. And human rights organizations, even if you look at it in Sri Lanka, every organization that came out has asked maximum thing is that ask government to investigate and have a internal investigation, independent investigation. That's a maximum thing Sri Lankan human rights society, civil society has so far asked. Usually, in previous times, and there has been a lot of discussions, meetings and seminars and articles, talk shows happening on these things, but there will be no talk show. I think no one will go to any television station today, if invited, to say what is happening, or either the report has some truth or not. Everyone will attack it. So within Sri Lanka, I think there will be no discussion, no space to have any informed discussion about the panel report.
Okay, thank you very much, Sunanda Deshapriya, for your participation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.